My name is Serenity, and for a long time, I believed my life was simple and happy. I lived in a small, quiet house with my husband, Lucas. It was not a perfect house, but it was warm. It was ours. Lucas was my safe place. When I felt tired, his smile made me feel calm. When I felt afraid, his arms made me feel protected. I trusted him completely. I thought love meant safety, and with Lucas, I felt safe. Lucas and I met at school. He was funny and kind, the kind of man who listened when you spoke. When he told me I was beautiful, I believed him. No one had ever said that to me before. We married after 2 years. Our wedding was small, quiet, and full of smiles. I remember thinking that day, this is it. This is my forever. I also had a sister. Her name was Valentina. She was my younger sister, but she was also my best friend. We grew up sharing everything. One room, one closet, one heart. When I cried, she held me. When she was afraid, I stood in front of her. We promised each other something very simple but very strong. We promised we would always protect each other. I believed that promise without doubt. After Lucas and I settled into married life, Valentina moved to our city. She did not know many people there, and I was happy to have her close. She came to our house often. Sometimes for dinner. Sometimes just to talk. Slowly, the three of us became something like a small family. We cooked together. We watched movies. We laughed. Lucas helped Valentina fix her car, helped her find a job, helped her feel less alone. I was proud of him. I thought, I married a good man. At first, everything felt natural, normal. But small things began to change. So small that I did not notice them right away. Valentina sometimes came over when I was still at work. Lucas talked about her often. How funny she was. How smart she was. I smiled and listened, but somewhere deep inside, a quiet question started to form. Then came my birthday. Lucas gave me a silver necklace with a small heart. I loved it. I wore it every day. A week later, Valentina came to dinner wearing a silver necklace too. Also a heart. But hers was bigger. Brighter. With a tiny diamond in the center. She smiled and said we had the same taste. I laughed with her. I told myself it was nothing. Just jewelry. Just coincidence. But that night, as I lay next to Lucas, a cold feeling touched my heart. I told myself to stop thinking. I told myself I was imagining things. I told myself I was wrong. After that birthday, life did not break all at once. It shifted slowly, quietly, like a chair moving a few centimeters in the dark. Lucas started coming home later than usual. At first, it was just 1 or 2 nights a week. He said there was a big project at work. Deadlines. Pressure. Important meetings. He looked tired when he came home. His shoulders were heavy. His eyes were dull. I believed him. I tried to be a good wife. I cooked his favorite meals even when he came home late. I waited up for him, sitting on the sofa with a blanket. When he fell asleep there, I gently covered him and kissed his head. I told myself this was marriage. This was love. Supporting each other through hard times. But the late nights became more frequent. Sometimes he came home after midnight. Sometimes he did not call. I worried, but I did not complain. I did not want to be the kind of wife who asked too many questions. I wanted him to feel trusted. One night, he was very late. Too late. I tried to sleep, but my heart would not calm down. At almost midnight, I picked up the phone and called his office. I told myself I was just checking. A man answered. His voice was slow, sleepy. Hello. Hello, I said softly. Is Lucas Miller there? There was a pause. No, ma'am. Everyone left hours ago. The office is empty. My hand started to shake. I thanked him and hung up. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall. My heart was beating fast. I tried to find a reason. Maybe he went out with co-workers. Maybe he forgot his phone. An hour later, Lucas came home. He smiled like nothing was wrong. He leaned in to kiss me, but I stepped back. "Where were you?" I asked. "I called your office. They said you left a long time ago." He looked surprised, then uncomfortable. He put his bag down and avoided my eyes. "I went for a drink with my boss," he said. "We needed to talk about the project. My phone died." He showed me his phone. The screen was black. I wanted to believe him. I needed to believe him. But then I noticed something else. A soft smell in the air. Sweet. Familiar. "You smell like flowers," I said quietly. His head lifted quickly. "My boss is a woman," he said too fast. "She wears perfume." He walked past me into the bedroom and closed the door. I stood there alone in the living room. The house felt colder than before. The smell stayed with me. I knew that perfume. I had smelled it many times before. It was Valentina's favorite. That night, I barely slept. My mind kept repeating the same question. Was I imagining everything? By morning, I felt ashamed of myself. Maybe I was jealous. Maybe I was insecure. Lucas loved me. Valentina was my sister. Still, the doubt would not leave. And for the first time, I made a quiet decision. I would talk to Valentina. Not to accuse her. Not to fight. Just to calm my heart and prove to myself that I was wrong. The next day, I asked Valentina to meet me for coffee. I chose a small cafe we used to love when we were younger, a quiet place with soft music and warm light. I told myself I was not going there to accuse her. I just needed to hear her voice, to see her eyes, to feel close to my sister again. When she arrived, she smiled as if nothing in the world was wrong. She hugged me and asked about my work, my health, my life. Her voice was light. Normal. I tried to smile back, but my heart was heavy. After a few minutes, I spoke carefully. "You and Lucas spend a lot of time together," I said, pretending my tone was casual. "Sometimes I feel a little left out." She laughed softly and shook her head. "Oh, Serenity, you are thinking too much," she said. "He just helps me because you are my sister. You are his wife. You are the most important person in his life." She reached across the table and took my hand. Her touch was warm, familiar. "We both love you so much," she said. "You have nothing to worry about." In that moment, I felt ashamed. How could I doubt my own sister? How could I question the man I loved? I squeezed her hand and lowered my eyes. "I'm sorry," I said. "I guess I've just been tired." She smiled again, kind and gentle. "It's okay," she said. "We're family." I left the cafe feeling lighter. The cold feeling inside me faded. I decided to trust them completely. I promised myself I would stop listening to fear. A week later, I remembered something important. Our 5-year wedding anniversary was coming. 5 years of marriage. 5 years of love, or so I believed. I wanted to do something special. Something just for us. I planned a surprise trip to the mountains. There was a small wooden house by a lake, quiet and beautiful. I imagined us walking by the water, holding hands, remembering who we used to be. On Thursday evening, I told Lucas about the trip. My heart was full of excitement. "I booked a weekend away for our anniversary," I said. "Just you and me." He froze for a second. Then his face changed. Not happiness. Worry. "Oh, Serenity," he said slowly. "That's very sweet, but I can't go. I have to work. The project is reaching its deadline. I need to be there all weekend." My smile disappeared. "On our anniversary?" I asked quietly. He nodded. "I'm really sorry. We can celebrate another time." I wanted to be angry. I wanted to cry. But instead, I told myself what I had promised. Trust. I cancelled the trip with my own hands. The next day, Friday afternoon, I was driving home when my phone rang. It was my friend Kate. "Serenity," she said, her voice tight. "Are you okay?" "Yes," I answered. "Why?" There was a pause. Then she spoke again, slowly. "I'm in a small town near the mountains, and I think I just saw Lucas." My heart stopped beating. And he wasn't alone. Kate's voice trembled on the phone. She told me she was in a small town near the mountains, the same place where I had planned our anniversary trip. She said she saw Lucas walking down the street, laughing, holding hands with a woman. They looked relaxed, happy. Then she added the words I was already afraid of. "The woman had long blonde hair," Kate said softly. "She was wearing a red dress." "Serenity. I'm almost sure it was Valentina." The world went silent. I did not scream. I did not cry. I could not even speak. I thanked Kate without knowing why and ended the call. My hands were shaking on the steering wheel. I sat in my car for a long time, unable to move. Every thought in my head broke into pieces. I drove home, but I do not remember the road. When I entered the house, it was empty. Of course it was empty. Their coats were gone. The rooms felt too big, too quiet. I walked from room to room, touching the walls, the table, the photos on the shelf. Every memory suddenly felt like a lie. I could not stay there. I grabbed my keys and drove to my parents' house, 2 hours away. I did not call. I just went. When I arrived, my mother opened the door and knew immediately. She held me while I cried. I turned off my phone. I did not want to hear Lucas's voice. I did not want to hear Valentina's excuses. For 2 days, I stayed there, broken and exhausted. On Sunday night, I knew I had to go back. I needed the truth. I needed to hear it from his mouth. When I walked into my house, Lucas was sitting on the sofa. He looked terrible. His eyes were red. His face was pale. He jumped up when he saw me and rushed toward me. "Serenity, thank God," he said. "I was so worried." He tried to hug me. I pushed him away. "Don't touch me," I said. My voice was calm, colder than I felt inside. "I know." His face drained of color. "Know what?" "I know about you and Valentina," I said. "Kate saw you. In the mountain town. Holding her hand." He opened his mouth, then closed it. "It's not what you think," he whispered. "It's exactly what I think," I replied. "How long?" He looked down at the floor. "A few months." The truth hit harder than any lie. "Get out," I said. "This is not a mistake. This is a choice. And you chose her." He cried. He begged. I did not listen. I watched him pack a bag and leave. The next day, Valentina came. She cried and said, "It just happened." I looked at her and said quietly, "You lost me the day you chose him." I closed the door. In one weekend, the 2 people I loved most were gone. The weeks after they left were the darkest of my life. I moved through the house like a stranger. I took the wedding photos off the walls and placed them in a box. I packed away pictures of Valentina and me as children, smiling with our arms around each other. I could not throw them away, but I could not look at them either. At night, I barely slept. Food had no taste. Some days, I forgot to eat at all. The house that once felt safe now felt empty, like it was holding its breath. Kate did not leave me. She came every day, sometimes with food, sometimes with silence. She listened when I talked and sat beside me when I could not find words. She reminded me that not everyone walks away. Her presence was quiet, steady, and it saved me more than she knew. Healing did not come all at once. It came in small steps. One morning, I opened the windows and let fresh air fill the rooms. Another day, I took a long walk in the park and watched people live their lives. I started reading again, getting lost in stories that were not my own. Slowly, I began to change the house. I painted the walls a warm, bright color. I bought new curtains. I moved the furniture. It was no longer our home. It was my home. One afternoon, I walked into a flower shop and bought sunflowers. They were bright and strong, their faces always turned toward the light. I placed them on my kitchen table and looked at them every morning. They became a reminder. Even when broken, you can still choose where to look. Not long after, I met an old friend named Quinn at the grocery store. She invited me to an art class at the community center. I hesitated, then agreed. Drawing felt strange at first, but soon my hands remembered. Colors, shapes, lines. For 2 hours, my pain became something else. Something beautiful. One evening, walking home from class, I saw Lucas and Valentina on the sidewalk. We stopped. For a moment, the past stood in front of me. Then I walked past them. My heart did not race. My hands did not shake. I felt calm. That night, I sat at my kitchen table. Sunlight rested on the sunflowers. I smiled, a real smile. I understood then that betrayal did not define me. I defined myself by standing up again. I was not broken anymore. I was growing.